Hello and welcome to another episode of the Renewable Energy Movement, powered by Kigyo. Today we have Alexandros Kalargyros. I hope I said that correctly.
Yes, correct.
Alexandros is currently Head of Engineering and Construction at EDP, based in Athens. Over the last 10 to 15 years, has got international experience in Saudi Arabia, North Africa, South Africa, and even parts of the US. Yeah, welcome, Alexandros.
Thank you, Tom. Thank you very much. Yes, you hit the nail on the head. Exactly like this. I started in 2011 with renewables, and I'm still here.
Yeah,
We have been around the world.
Let's go right back to the start.
Okay.
How was your journey into renewables?
Actually, I started in Greece with Enel in 2011, February. It was 14 years ago, more or less. And then we had a few projects in Greece. I had the opportunity to move in South Africa to set up the unit there with a company, with Enel again. I also had the opportunity to move in the US after the South Africa. And eventually I ended up coming back to Greece again with Enel, then moved to EDP. So
Okay.
it is the industries, as you know, solar and wind. It was the major activities related to renewables all over the four countries. In South Africa, we had activities in Zambia. In USA, we had activities in Canada. So we were traveling a lot.
Yeah, there's a lot to get into there.
So a lot of different cultures, a lot of different things to see, a lot of different people to meet.
Yeah. So let's go a little bit back to the start then, or
Yes.
to near the start with Enel. So you moved to Enel after working in Saudi Arabia, is that correct?
Yes, I was in Saudi Arabia for almost 4 years in another kind of business. It was a desalination business. Let me say I was from the other side of the river in the EPC contractor side. So I was working for a contractor that actually the clients were either Aramco or Marafiq, that we were building projects for them. I stayed 4 years there. It was like a very strong and very tough experience with very senior guys, engineers, and strong, let me say, elements and specifications that we needed to take care of and comply with. Eventually, I had the luck to jump into the renewables and also come back to Greece in 2011. So in Saudi Arabia, really, it was, I would say, it was somehow like a school for me because I learned how industry is working in terms of contracting, in terms of contractors management and stakeholders management, and how you have to be as a manager in general. So it was very, let me say, deep. I had a deep experience on how to be in the position and manage projects. Of course, because we had a lot of work and we didn't have a lot of free time. And then in the renewables, coming in 2011 in Greece, then we started with small but a lot of projects, and I had a lot of solar and wind. Back then, we didn't build. We were not. Let me say, we didn't have licenses, or we did not develop projects to the extent of hundreds of megawatts. Let me say, it was just smaller projects, but it was a lot. So we had to be all around Greece for a period of 4 years, 3 to 4 years. We were running after everything. All the projects we were building, it was solar and wind, of course. After this, we didn't have a lot of work in Greece. I wanted to be busy, so I moved to South Africa. As you know, in 2015, I moved there. I stayed there as an expat for 3 years. We had 6 projects back then at the same time simultaneously to build them in 2-3 years. It was the biggest projects back then for Enel with solar and wind.
Yep.
And for me as well. The tough stuff, the difficult stuff, the part of it was that we had to set up the unit from scratch.
Mhm.
So we had to set up the whole company from scratch, while at the same time we needed to start with the projects. Eventually, all the projects finished ahead of schedule in South Africa. We had also a period that were not very busy. Then I had the opportunity with my family, and we moved to the US.
And how was the difference, particularly on the construction site, between Greece and South Africa?
In South Africa, the format of how things are done is the same. What I mean is that how you manage a contract is more or less similar, because in Greece also we use English as it is used to be the language that we use for us to manage the contractors and the contracts and how things are done. But in South Africa, of course, It's a much bigger country, has much more, let me say, contractors. Greece is a small country. However, the peculiarities of South Africa, of course, with other countries, it was that you needed to comply and to respect specific rules regarding the people,
Yeah.
regarding how the local content and the percentage of local people they are working with you because of the unemployment, because of the problem that of decarbonization that they want to close a few of the, let me say, coal plants and factories. So we needed to comply with this here. In Greece, of course, the difference is that you are in Europe. Everybody from Europe can work here. In South Africa, you need to have a visa. You need to have, other rules in order to be in the position to work. Being a European in South Africa, also with the requirement that you need to comply, having, of course, local people working for your team. It is a challenge because of there is still, Tom, the situation. There is still always to consider the past, which
Yeah.
is very strong and very difficult past that we have to consider. They have had difficult periods, which you need to understand before you go there. You need to understand how you have to behave as well. Things are different in Greece. If you just shake the hand with someone in Greece, you need to shake it with a firm handshake. In South Africa, you shouldn't,
Yeah.
because you should not look in the eyes. There are some kind of differences that you need to know, or you need to ask, let me
Yeah.
say. So I was lucky in South Africa because I had very good people in my team. I was lucky because they did accept me, which is very difficult. It was difficult for me to be accepted, let me say, in terms of, being not so senior within seniority. In order for them to accept you, they need to know that you really know what you are doing. So it took me a few months. Then, of course, there was mutual the respect and mutual the understanding, but you need to behave in such a way when you transfer the knowledge and when you want something to be done, to do it in a soft skilled way, which is not always easy. Yeah.
I understand quite a lot about South Africa's history. My wife's South African, but
Okay.
yeah, there's a lot of BEE laws and BEE rules
Yes,
that I
exactly.
imagine is really difficult when it comes to particularly managing like those blue collar positions. Yeah.
Exactly.
But you also worked in other parts of Africa, right?
Yes, we did a project in Zambia. We started in Zambia, but I had to leave for the US.
Yeah.
In Zambia, it was a small solar plant. The team by then was ready to take over. Because at the beginning, you need to coach also the team. You need to coach the managers. You need to make the managers. I mean, you need also to grow with them, and you become also a better manager. So they they were ready to take over, and they managed and they finished the project. We finished the project in Zambia, a solar
Yeah.
project. I didn't have the chance to work in another country in Africa. South Africa, we had 6 different locations. So I saw the whole of South Africa, more or less. We had the project in Kimberley, in Cape Town, near Cape Town, in Palacio Well, I think the name was. In Port Elizabeth, we had 2 wind farms, and it was in Lesotho, not Lesotho, in Limpopo. Limpopo was another. So I was lucky because I had to travel around, but in Zambia, it was the second country that we had to take over and do a solar plant. But I didn't have the chance to finish it. I mean, because I moved to the US. The need in the US back then was tremendous. I mean, we had a lot of projects and huge projects and a lot of people. So I had to move there quickly. This was a challenge in 2018.
Yeah, I can imagine. Yeah.
Yeah, because we were in South Africa.
Yeah.
Then we had to stop by in Greece for a few months with my wife pregnant, and we need after that to go to the US with visas, etc. So I mean, imagine we had the doctors in South Africa, in Greece, and in the US, gynecologists everywhere. So but it was a very exciting year. You know, the best moments of your life is those moments that you really achieve something.
Yeah.
So it was a moment that it was a year that eventually my wife, my daughter, she was born in September 2018 in the US. After going all around the world, let me say, we managed to settle down in the US with the housing and everything back then in 2019. In July, I was earlier there. Then the project they were demanding our presence, so we had to build a few wind farms back then. It was not a few, it was a lot. One wind farm of 350, 320, 350 megawatt of 100 wind turbines to be installed. We needed to do it in 8 months, while in other countries they need 2 and 3 years. Of course, the terrain is different, the environment is different, the people are different, they are more business oriented. So it was definitely helping out. I mean, the rest of the conditions that we need to consider apart from the project itself. And then after that, COVID came. COVID came in 2020, so we had the chance and the opportunity to move back to Greece, having the positions here, the open positions here for us to also to work here back in Enel. And we came back in 5 years ago. Exactly 5 years ago, we came back to Greece. Well, of course, here also it is busy in southern Europe.
Yep.
Now we are getting into I don't know, into uncharted waters because of some changes also in the US with some, withdrawals of laws and, problems on permitting that they have stopped giving licenses, etc. So the market in US is very big. So there is an impact worldwide, I would say,
Mm-hmm.
which has also impacted Europe, because Europe majors, the four majors are from Europe basically in the renewables, I think, if I'm not mistaken. They had also business and, of course, let me say, investments in the US, so they have to restructure their units. They have to restructure the operations in order for them to stay busy.
Yeah. And what you think that's mainly like a political reason, or what do you think the reason for that?
I'm not sure. Maybe it is related. Look, the energy mix, it has to be everything inside the energy mix. I mean to say, you cannot survive only with renewables. They are mandatory, and I really believe on renewables and all these, and the story behind it. It is something which I really believe with the CO2 emissions, and we need to respect it. But we need also to consider the rest of the technologies. We need to consider nuclear. So
Yeah.
when someone has an idea not to consider everything, I don't know if this is political or maybe it is a belief or an idea. It is something that definitely gives us challenges and issues to manage in the future, because now investments that they should have happened, let me say, in other places, they are stopped. So
Yeah.
you invest, you hire people, you open a unit, you open a country, then you see that you need to, just break a little bit and stop a little bit your activities.
You've obviously circled the world actually there. You've gone Saudi Arabia,
Yeah.
back to Greece, down to
Yeah.
Africa, up to America. You then came back to Greece around the COVID time.
Yes.
What was the difference between the market in Greece in 2020 to 2011?
We didn't see much of activity. We did have some activities, but it was very, very slow. We were concerned a lot. I mean, we didn't want to touch anything, to be next to people. We realized, I can tell you, after that, in 2021, 2022, when we restarted, the projects were much bigger. Of course, because of the evolvement of the technology in the renewables, the projects were bigger as well. Instead of having a project of 6, 7, 10 megawatts, now we are building projects here of 200. The minimum is 30, 40 megawatt project. There are also small projects, but the difference is that we didn't have any big ones back then. Also, we have the investments that I see happening is the interconnection of islands, interconnection of countries, which we didn't have it before, with high voltage cables, something which is happening, and it is going to give room for more projects and for extension, and definitely for the development of our sector. The connection that has been done with Crete Island It's almost done. And now we will most probably going to connect also with, Greece is going to be the hub to connect with Africa and Asia, which is, you will be the hub, energy hub, let me say, somehow. The islands, they have been connected as well, several islands with cables that they gave exactly also independence, energy independence to the islands, stability, definitely. And as well, potential projects that you can have, in the renewables like solar or wind farms. So the major differences was that the development and the involvement, and of course the construction of infrastructures that supported, let me say, islands and Greece, to empower Greece in terms of being a hub, let me say, in Europe as well. We don't have nuclear in Greece, so we need to have, let me say, renewables, definitely with other.
And this is like the current day in Greece you're
Yes.
talking about now, right?
We have coal fire plants, we have gas, we don't have nuclear, and we have renewables. Yes, it is our major. Let me say, it's from coal.
And you just talked about quite a lot of things there that I don't think get discussed widely on like a European level. So, for example, some of the projects that are planned between the islands, some of the projects that are planned with parts of North Africa, is the right kind of level of investment coming in to support those projects? What do you think on that?
From what I have seen, yes, I don't see any. I'm not sure if we have an issue there. Let me say it like this. If I understood correctly, you mean on if we have funds or investments coming to invest? Yes, definitely.
Yeah,
Definitely.
good.
I'm not sure the origination. I don't know if it's from Asia or from East or West. But yes, I know that we have many interested investors.
And tell me a little bit about your move to EDP then. So obviously
Yes.
you spent a long time at Enel. How did that come about?
At a certain point, you realize that you need to grow. Moving to another country makes you grow. So, if you are in the same country, in the same company for many years, you see how this company is working, but you think that everybody is doing the same. So it's not like this. NL, it is highly respected. All the people there, I still have friends, and it's in my heart, let me say, because I lived a lot of things with NL, and I am blessed to have had this opportunity. However, you realize that there are other companies that they are more effective in certain things, like in EDPR, more flexible. Not that NL was not flexible, but you see flexibility, agility, and how you need to be, let me say, not to focus on the details, but on the problem solving. It is giving you some, let me say, benefits to proceed and to finish the projects, and of course to do it in a quality manner. EDPR, they had a different structure. They are working also in a matrix organization like NL. And a matrix organization, I mean that you have to report to many different channels, and the same cascading downwards or upwards, the same thing. Even if you are manager of you, if you report to the manager, if you have direct reports, so you have a matrix organization that it is in some cases it can be helpful, in some cases not. So when you have people directly reporting to you, it could be easier in some cases when you are managing smaller projects in smaller countries. If you have um, let me say, much bigger projects that you need to manage, maybe also a more complex matrix organization would be more, let me say, helpful. In any case, in EDPR, I took over the engineering construction role as a head, and we had a team of 8. We were a team of 8.
In Greece?
In Greece. All around EDPR, it was, I think, the engineering construction unit, we were around 200 people or so in Europe and Latin America. So, if I'm not mistaken. So it was somehow the things that I learned in EDPR is how you evolve from zero until you start construction. So to say from greenfield until you start construction, it was something in NL I didn't have so much of a visibility to look into. Here in EDPR, I should, and it was mandatory for me to know how this is working, because development and permitting needs to be done, of course, in a handshake with engineering. So if you don't engineer properly, Then if you don't design properly the project, then which is going to be permitted
Hmm.
or be constructed, then you will not be in the position to have it constructed properly because the engineering that you have permitted is not the proper one. So it needs a lot of proactiveness. You need to have the insights how you should engineer and design the things for this to be also approved, because in Greece we have rules in terms of forestry, permitting wise. We
Yep.
need to receive specific permits, licenses, and you need to respect the rules for these permits to be granted. So otherwise you will not have any chance. So I mean that was one of them, and of course you understand. In NDPR, I understood that how critical it is to have people directly reporting to you,
Yep.
but how is let me say is to work with them, working with the people, not just being a manager.
And
But
do you still focus solely on Greece, or have you got more of a European focus now?
no, only in Greece
Mm.
currently. We have two projects under construction. We finished four projects already.
Yeah.
That they are in a rotation scheme, asset rotation. So the EDP is building, so they keep some projects, they want to sell some projects, they do. So it's just to have a cash flow. We will see how things will develop next year. Maybe we move to another country, maybe we stay here. We will see.
How have you found the let's say talent shortage in Greece? How have you found attracting people for your team?
Difficult. You don't find easily people in Greece. The experts and those that they are very, let me say, skilled, they either moved out of Greece or they are very difficult to get. I remember when we were trying to find a civil engineer, we were looking for 6 months to find someone, not a very experienced person, someone that he could, let me say, evolve, and you can coach him, or he wants to learn and you will learn from him also. But you just to have someone, it was very difficult. And we had to find, and we did find someone from UK that he came around. He decided to come back to Greece. Eventually, you realize that it is tough to find people working, engineers mainly. I'm
Yeah.
talking about engineers or construction engineers, either project engineers or construction engineers. It's very difficult to find. And so you need to be proactive even more. If you want someone in March, you see that there is a project, this is a challenge. You need to start looking since and you may find someone, and eventually the project can be postponed. So that's the challenge. Just to be in the position to be lucky enough to get the timelines according to your needs. So even if you have a team, you need to set up the teams in such a way to keep them busy, but not to be, let me say, idle or not busy when you don't have projects.
Yeah.
So you cannot have a lot of people in your unit when you don't know how many projects you will have in the next years. It is something that we are trying to find a solution.
And just looking forward a little bit, what are your predictions, or what do you see in the Greece market in the coming years?
The challenge is the interconnection, Tom. The interconnections, it looks, and of course, how we will be focusing in batteries. Definitely, you have other technologies like hydrogen that it will at some point, we will have to look into. We are slow, but we will. Interconnection, it is a challenge which is going to be, I think, growing in the next years. I know that here the transmission system operator wants to make some developments in the future for having more grid for the project to be connected. Batteries, yes, that we are a little bit late and we need to run now in Greece.
Alexandros, I'm not an expert on the Greek market by any means.
Yeah.
And what neighbouring countries are you potentially able to share with on this front?
Look, we are able to. I mean, there are moments during the day that you are able to give your energy if you don't need it in all your neighbor countries. Currently, let me just try to see if there is an application. By the way, there are applications, but now as we speak, we give 490 megawatts in North Macedonia, 61 in Bulgaria, 120 in Turkey. We only Shell. Now we give only 720 megawatts, 720 megawatts in Albania. We have the balance is minus 1.4 megawatt,
Yeah.
1.4 gigawatt. So it is we are using what we need from the energy we produce, and we also have the chance to give and to sell, I guess, sell
Yes,
energy
sell.
to
Yeah,
other-
that helps with your storage in a
Yeah.
sense, though, right?
Yes.
In a certain way.
Greece has this benefit. We are in the border of Europe, and we are a hub that we can also take advantage of our location and the islands that they are very windy, some of them. But we have a problem, and we are late on the batteries. We are late on other technologies, and we need to grow and to develop our grid.
Yeah.
That's the issue. But I am optimistic. I'm not. I am optimistic. I think we will do it, but needs
It's
to
a
be
common
paid.
theme. It's a common theme across Europe, across the world. But you do have a lot of things in your favor. Like you say, you've got a lot of wind.
Yes.
You've got a lot of sun.
So
You've got a lot of ability to share.
exactly.
And so, yeah, it sounds like a positive outlook. Alexandros, you've worked in a lot of countries in your career. It will be quite inspiring, actually, to people listening. What would you tell a young Alexandros who is working in Saudi Arabia in a similar position to you now?
If you want to grow, if you want to become my point is that if you stay in the same country, you will grow according to what the country is giving you. If you want to grow more, if you want to become open-minded, if you want to learn things and really get to know people and yourself, because you think you know yourself, but you don't know if you don't also challenge yourself with other people. Let me say,
Yeah.
you need to travel. I don't know if you want. I mean, I would say to a young Alexandros that I have never regretted on any of my travels and any of my staying, let me say, experiences in the past. So if definitely it's a must for me.
Yeah.
It's a must
Especially
for
in
me to be in the position and live in another country.
Yeah,
Must.
I mean, I think all the cultural benefits are clear, but especially in this industry, there's so many small nuances and so many small differences in the way things are done. I think you really learn a lot that you can then take onto your next experience. Yeah,
Definitely, you understand that the projects are done. In any case, you will build the project.
Yeah.
The projects are built. The projects are coming and going. So you will build a project, you will forget the project, and then you have another project. But people are staying. The person that you are, it will define also how you will be remembered and what you will be as a person, and how things and how people they will speak for you and how you will speak for them. I think that this what for me is the most important thing, to be a person, understand persons and to understand their needs. As they were telling me, I don't know if I can say this, in South Africa, I remember one of the ladies in the HR, she was telling me, do no harm and take no shit.
Yeah, right. It's a good life motto.
But it is true. You need to understand the needs, and if they are honest, and you need to understand what they want, what the people want, what I want, what do I want to do? Do I want to grow? Do I want to stay here? Do I want to become a better engineer? Do I want to become a CM? So you need to respect this. If I'm not mistaken, there are still people, let me say, everywhere that I remember my relationship with them and how they did, grow, how we were managing the project, etc. But, the projects I remember, but there are a lot. I mean, the people, they stay at the end in our lives.
Yeah. Well, I'll keep an eye out for sure on the Greek market and surrounding areas. Thanks for coming on, Alexandros. I've
Thank
really
you.
enjoyed the conversation. We'll put the links underneath the episode where you can find Alexandros' profile and follow his work, etc. And yeah, thanks for listening.